everyone, I'm Sarah Martin, the Associate Director of Forecasting at Dodge Construction Network, and today we will be looking at October's Momentum Index. Now, as a reminder, the DMI tracks the value of non-residential building projects going into planning. All those projects are valued under $500 million, and this index typically leads construction spending by about 12 months. So the Momentum Index decreased about 5% in October to a reading of 197.2. We saw the commercial side sort of fall 7%, and the institutional segment declined 2%. Now, in addition to data center planning continuing to moderate and normalize, which was a large reason why we saw sort of a slower momentum taking place, we also saw a moderate pullback in several other non-residential sectors across the month, and all of that combined kind of contributed to the 5% decline that we saw in October. Now, per usual, I wanted to break out each portion of the index, and I also want to take a minute here to look at the influence of data center projects on the commercial side of the index. So what I did was just roughly kind of remove all data center projects over the last 18 months just to see what the index would have done without the influence of data centers. So obviously you can see that it would show much more moderate and sort of steady or flatter growth throughout the year, but also that we have seen some pickup in activity between about April and August of this year. And then in September, when the Fed cut rates, we saw a little bit of slowdown in activity and saw that again in October as well. Now, our thinking here is that owners and developers could be putting those planning decisions on pause until they see the impact of those rate cuts throughout maybe the end of the year into next year. So most commercial categories did face declines throughout October, aside from hotel planning, which continues to really gain steam. It's been gaining momentum for several months now and continued to do so in October. On the institutional side, education and public planning activity expanded over the month, and this was somewhat offset by weaker activity in healthcare, recreational, and religious projects. So a small 2% decline, but overall the index is still sitting at a decent level. Year over year, the DMI was 13% higher in this month than in October of 2023. The commercial segment was up 18% from year-ago levels, and the institutional segment was up 3%. Now, again, if we remove data center projects from the commercial side of the index, we would see commercial planning would be down 4% from year-ago levels, and that would make the entire DMI down about 2% from year-ago levels. So generally speaking, I think the story remains the same, right? We've been saying this for a few months now. We expect that by late 2025, the cumulative impact of the Fed's rate cuts will allow planning projects to reach groundbreaking a little bit more quickly. They'll move through the planning queue, and that should lead to stronger non-residential activity in mid-2025 to early 2026. Thanks so much for watching today. That should wrap it up.